Whether you're planning on exploring the vibrant city of Kathmandu or trekking up in the Himalayas, there is so much you need to know before you go on your first trip to Nepal. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ava Grace. I'm a full-time traveler and filmmaker, and today I want to share absolutely everything I've learned on my 4-week trip from Nepal. So let's jump right into it. Starting off strong with number 1. As soon as you land in Kathmandu, you're going to have to get a visa on arrival. This is required for just about every traveler, but double check before you go to see if you may be the exception. You have the option of a 15, 30, and 90-day visa, ranging from the prices of $30 to $125. And the lines are known to be quite long. This is because every other traveler is also submitting their visas. So make sure you have nowhere to go as soon as you land and give yourself a little bit of extra time. Every traveler knows that the most stressful part of a long travel day is trying to get from the airport to your hotel. There's often so many taxi drivers trying to get your attention to take you to where you want to go. Around Kathmandu, there's an option called InDrive, which is equivalent to Uber. It's a really cheap and really safe option to get around the city. And more often than not, the accommodation that you booked will message you on WhatsApp to see if you want a hotel transfer. So never get in an unmarked taxi, and just to avoid that headache, try and set it up before you even arrive to Kathmandu. Which brings me to number 3, where should you stay in Kathmandu? Now this is a city of 850,000 people, and it can be quite hard to navigate at first. So initially I had a really hard time booking accommodation just because I didn't know where to go. The first hotel I booked was really close to Boudhanath Stupa. I thought this was great because even though I came to Nepal during the high season, there were no tourists on the outskirts of the city. When I would walk around to a small cafe or any local restaurant, I would be the only foreigner there, which I felt was like a more fun experience. But most people stay near the area of Tamil. I did end up staying there after my trekking, and it's a lot more modern and comfortable, and there are definitely quite a few more tourists walking around the streets. And if you're traveling with a bunch of extra stuff that you don't want to take up on the mountains with you, you can always talk to your hotel front desk, and they're very used to people asking to leave their luggage behind while they go on a trek, and it works pretty much every time. Now, number 4 is preparing for your trek in Kathmandu. If you are not going with a guide, then you'll have to sort out your permits for your trek all by yourself, which can be a bit of a headache. You'll need to take passport-sized photos and fill out the registration, but there are quite a few shops that can do it throughout Kathmandu. And even though I was trekking with a guide, I didn't have my passport photos ready to go, so we had to spend an extra day in Kathmandu just to sort this out. And I think my favorite part of the preparation for this trek was shopping around Tamil. So this area is notorious for having a bunch of shops side by side, all filled with trekking equipment. It will have absolutely everything you need. I showed up to Nepal with nothing in regards to trekking, and $100 later I was walking away with everything you could possibly need, from backpacks to crampons to warm gear to headlamps and water bottles and sunglasses. It's super affordable, and you'll probably end up paying 5 times the price in your home country. And the best part is that when you're shopping in Nepal, the gear is just as good and just as high quality, and you're supporting the local community. Number 5 is going to be all about picking the best trek for you. When I was there, I did the Mardi Himal trek, and this was absolutely incredible. Located in the Annapurna region, this 4-day trek pushed my limits but was stunning in views. I had read online that you have to have a local guide in order to get through the permit checkpoints in Annapurna and Everest regions. This is not entirely true. In the Annapurna region, you can hike without a local guide, but it's strongly discouraged because they want you to support the local community. The most popular treks are the ABC and EBC base camp treks. Now these two are very, very busy during high season. Like, I have actually seen photos from my friends who have went to do it, and there is actually a line waiting to get up the mountain, almost like the ones you see online about Everest being too busy. So if you don't mind the crowds and you have 2 weeks to trek, I highly recommend those. And if you're wanting to do something off the beaten path, there are tons of options. You don't just have to do the ones that everyone talks about. Now, number 6 is what time of year is best to go trekking. So you actually cannot go trekking in Nepal between July and August because of monsoon season. Typically, people will come for the spring and fall season. Every other time of the year is going to be heavy rain, flash floods, and sub-freezing temperatures. Now, number 7 is how to actually get to the starting point of your trek. This will vary from region to region. My experience is I went from Kathmandu to a city called Pokhara by a 10-hour bus. Now, you don't have to take a local bus. Some of these can actually be really, really nice. And you can book them online through 12Go Asia or Booking.com. You also have the option to fly into the Pokhara airport, but there are weight restrictions. So if you're flying with a lot of your trekking gear, it can get really expensive. And to get to the Everest region, it's recommended to fly into Lukla, but you also have the option of taking a bus and then hiking an extra 2 days to Namche. Also, what's become increasingly popular by travelers is taking a helicopter to the starting point of the trek, which I have not done just yet, but I really, really want to. Now, number 8 is giving yourself extra time for your travel days and acclimatization. Nepal is known to run on Nepali time, which means nothing is actually on time. It's not a bad thing, it's just a more relaxed way of living, but it is very noticeable at check-in times and departure times. Also, weather delays can cause you to get stuck in one city or on the mountains for days, and this is known to happen quite frequently. If you don't give yourself extra time in Kathmandu after your trek and you get stuck up on the mountain, you will miss your flight. You just have to be as best prepared as possible. And the elevation of Kathmandu is actually 1,300 meters above sea level. Pokhara is 800 and Lukla is 2,800. That being said, you have to build in extra days into your itinerary to acclimatize. Especially around 3,500 meters is where most people start to feel the effects of altitude sickness. Number 9 is prepare for the worst case possible. Once you're actually out on the mountains, there are no extra shops or resources or way to get medicine. So if you've never been in a high altitude environment, you don't know if you'll get altitude sickness, bring Diamox. It's the local medicine, it's recommended by every tour guide and traveler. I'd recommend bringing a first aid kit if you aren't traveling with a guide or in case you fall and need a band-aid. All of these things are incredibly difficult to get from other travelers or find up in the mountains. Now, number 10 is where to stay in the mountains. So if you're following a specific trail, you will come across guest houses and the higher up you go, tea huts. Now, some of these ask for a flat fee to stay there overnight. Most of the time, the accommodation is really basic, and you have to pay for things like water and electricity. If you're traveling with a local guide, they'll take care of everything for you, which was probably my favorite reason for hiring the guide. After this long day of trekking, I was exhausted and could not imagine setting up where to stay or trying to figure out if they have availability. So when I was able to follow my guide, drop off my bags, and just sleep, it was the most rewarding feeling. And it's kind of common sense, but the higher up you get into the mountains, the less resources there are available, meaning the food will get more simple, there won't be as much electricity, and there won't be hot water. And one thing I wish I knew beforehand is that electricity is only turned on for 2 to 3 hours a day. That being said, I had to charge a camera, portable charger, phone, all of these little things, which was almost impossible. So as soon as you hear the electricity is going to be turned on, make sure you run to the outlet and charge everything you can. Now, number 11 is all about personal hygiene. So the toilets are squat style, and that's in the city of Kathmandu and up on the mountains. And I highly recommend bringing your own toilet paper because they will not have it. And I've also heard that you should never shake hands with your left hand or accept anything with your left hand because the left hand is seen as unclean. This is the hand that deals with all the unhygienic things. Now, sometimes people claim they got sick from the food and water in Nepal. I never had this experience. I ate just about everything that was put in front of me during my month-long trip there. That being said, I was super cautious of the tap water. The tap water is known to make people really sick with parasites. Now, number 12, and the final tip for this video, is make sure you withdraw quite a bit of cash in Kathmandu. Tipping is really common in Nepal, even for small things like someone opening your car door or helping you with your bags. and especially tipping your porters and guides. These porters are the hardest working people I have ever seen, and it goes very, very unnoticed. So tipping them is just such a big way to say thank you. And outside of Kathmandu, it can be kind of hard to find the ATMs. They're really tucked away. Sometimes they'll eat debit cards, so I recommend pulling out cash in Kathmandu and keeping it in a safe place. That is all I have for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope it was helpful for your upcoming trip to Nepal. And make sure you check out my other Nepal videos to see everything I got up to during my trip.